Greetings, I'm Pastor R.A. McGee at the ICANN Church here in Newark, Ohio. And today's lesson I would like to talk about being a cheerleader. So, we all have our teams that we follow and teams we hope to win, and, we're really rooting for them. So what does it mean to be a cheerleader for that team? Now, do you go out and you say, go, 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 fight, 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 win, 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 all positive words? Or do you say, lose, 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 don't win, don't win, don't win? Do we do negative words? Of course, that's a obvious answer. We want our team to win, so we are all about positivity, all about rooting in a positive way. So this morning's lesson about being a cheerleader for each other, I'd like to start with Romans 14 and 19. Let us therefore follow after the things which make for peace, and things wherewith one may edify another. Now, if you look at this and break this down in the old Greek, follow after means to press forward. So pressing forward doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be easy. We still just have to press forward. So follow after the things which make for peace, or to set up one again, to bring us all together again, to get us all pointed in the same direction again. And the things, which is this and that, he, she, things, wherewith one may edify another. So one actually means one another, ourselves, and edify in this text is to build. To edify something is to build something up. We talk about a church being an edifice. It's a building for the Lord. So edify one another. So when we're looking at these things, Paul's telling the Romans, follow after peace and the things which build each other up. So as we go on down to 1 Thessalonians, where Paul's talking to the Thessalonian church, 5 and 11, he said, wherefore comfort yourselves together and edify one another, even as also ye also do. So, Paul's telling the Thessalonian church, he's telling the Roman church, and he's also telling the Ephesian church something similar. But it's all about building each other up. We're all about trying to work with each other to keep us all at that higher level, to build us up to be better Christians, to do what God wants us to be positive in this world. People like to be around positive people. I like to be around somebody that's positive, somebody that's uplifting, somebody that's happy. I just had a good friend from work just retired just last week, and that's what I told him. I said, I always enjoyed working with Dennis because he was that kind of guy. Anytime he was around him, he wanted to talk about church. He wanted to talk about things in his life, what's going on, the good things in life. And so he was building me up without even realizing it because he was talking about the right things. So here we are down to Ephesians 4:29. And this is a different way Paul's spinning it in Ephesians. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister or bring forth grace unto the hearers. So grace in this text actually means gratitude. So let no corrupt. Now what is corrupt communication? And basically when you look in the old Greek, it just means rotten. And if you study this out. And by the way, I should probably say this, but I always go to the Strong's dictionary to get my definitions, the actual biblical meanings from the old Greek Hebrew in Strong's. So when it says corrupt, it's talking about rotten communication. And I think that's pretty self-explanatory. So I have a little story I'd like to talk about. And it's a story about these group of frogs are traveling down a path, and they're just hopping along. A couple of them were hopping ahead of the rest of the crew, and they jump into this deep hole. So as they're down at the bottom of this hole, all the rest of the frogs gather around, and as they gather around, it's obvious that the frogs can't get out. No matter how hard they try, they kept jumping and jumping and jumping, and they couldn't get close to getting out. So the rest of the frogs are all up there watching, and pretty soon one of them said, you might as well just sit down and die. You'll never make it out of that hole. So they kept jumping. Pretty soon the rest of the crowd's all piling on there saying, yeah, just sit down and die. You'll never make it out. So one of the frogs finally, he just sits down in the corner of the hole and he dies. So the other frog, he just jumped for all he could jump. He kept jumping and jumping. And all the rest of the group of the frogs kept hollering, just forget about it. You'll never make it out. It's too late. You're in that deep hole. You'll never escape. And he kept jumping. Pretty soon he jumped so high, he grabbed his fingers over the edge and he pulled himself out of that hole. And all the rest of the crowds the frogs all gathered around and they crowded up against him. One of them said to him, "Didn't you hear us? We told you you would never make it out of that hole. How was it you could get out of that hole?" You know what that frog said? He was hard of hearing. He didn't hear him. All he saw was his group of friends up at the top of that hole hollering down at him, and he thought they were hollering encouraging things. So what is the moral of the story? The moral story is the first frog just passed away. He listened to his friends. He listened to the crowd. He listened to those ones who were telling him he could never make it, but the second frog couldn't hear it. So that is really the bottom line here. We are to be encouraging to each other. We are to be cheerleaders for each other. But we also have to turn a deaf ear to that negativity around us. There's all kinds of negativity around us that will drag us down if we're not careful. So we just have to turn a deaf ear to it. Now, that deaf ear could be to those voices around us, or it could be in the back of our own mind thinking we can't make it because we can't. We've got the Lord in our lives. Jesus wants us to succeed. All your church friends want you to succeed. All everybody that you come in contact with that serve the Lord, they want you to succeed because God is really the only answer we have. So turn a deaf ear. That's the moral of the story. So Romans 15:2, let every one of us please his neighbor for his good to edification, so he can be built up. So we're here to please each other, to help each other. So as we look in Romans, so now we've talked about Ephesians, Thessalonians, and Romans. Now we're going to go to Corinthians. 1 Corinthians 9:19. For though I be free from all men, because Paul was a freeborn Roman, yet have I made myself a servant unto all, that I might gain the more. So think about what Paul's saying. He wants everybody to succeed, so much so that he's made himself a servant to everybody. 1 Corinthians 10:24, let no man seek his own, but every man another's wealth. So in other words, I'm not here to please myself. I'm here to please my brothers and sisters, my friends, my family, to get them to a higher level, to get them to be successful in their lives. 1 Corinthians 10:33, even as I please all men in all things, not seeking my own profit, but the profit of many, that they may be saved. So think about what Paul's saying there. He's not saying just a few people, the people you like. He's saying all men in all things. So our job is to be a cheerleader for each other. Go, go, go. Win, win, win. That's what our life should be about to everybody, not just our church friends, but everybody we come in contact with should see God living in us. So that's my lesson for today. Church was canceled again this Sunday, but next Sunday we will be having service. If you have any needs, make sure you get a hold of me. So God bless you, and I'll see you in church.